Hi everyone! Welcome to the AzaleaMusic 1000 subscribers Q&A. I got a lot of questions, so I won't go through all of them, but thank you to everyone who commented. So without further ado, let's begin. Question from Declarin. What inspires you to make a channel and or make music? It all started when I learned piano when I was younger. That led me to eventually make my own songs for the piano. They were pretty bad and I don't even think I have them anymore. Then, I discovered bbye, a really good website for making simple tunes. That's where I first started recreating Deltarune and Undertale songs. Honestly, without those games, I probably wouldn't be making music right now. Question 2. What program do you use for drawing? I use Paint on my phone to draw. I'm not really an artist, in fact I think my art skills isn't all that great, but it'll do I guess. To add on to it, I use Pixel for pixel art and Flip for animation. Question 3. What was your first approach to Undertale and Deltarune? I said this before, but it's because of Steven freaking Universe. Some of you intelligent hominids might know about the theory that Sans is actually Steven Quartz Universe. The video basically says Steven got cancer and turned into Sans. What the fuck? I watched it as a kid and I totally got sucked into the world of Undertale. As for Deltarune, when it came out, my Undertale obsession was pretty much over, so I had no interest in it until Chapter 2 came out. It was then that my life would basically change. Can you give us some advice how to get started with making music? I don't like saying this, but basic music theory, in my opinion, is absolutely necessary for music. Some people might say, you don't need music theory to make good songs. But I disagree. Just learning some simple stuff about chords and melodies will really help you out. Another challenge is getting the right software to compose music. If you play an instrument and can read sheet music, I advise you to use MuseScore to make songs for your instrument. This can train you to make melodies really well. And like I said before, you can also use bbye or its many mods to make electronic music. It's pretty easy for beginners, but it is very powerful as well. Also, you should watch videos and tutorials on music, which helps a ton, as well as just listening to a lot of songs for inspiration. Question 7. Do you watch anime/read manga? If so, which are your top 3? You can swap anime for another medium if you don't watch it. I don't really like comic books in general, but I do watch a tiny bit of anime. Granted, I never really finished any series I think. I guess Attack on Titan is my favorite one, but I still didn't finish it. Also, not an anime, but I really like Alice in Borderland, but I haven't watched season 3 yet. And if I had to pick just a TV show in general, my favorite one is probably Invincible. I'm very sure. Next question. How long have you been making music, and do you play any instruments? I've been composing music ever since 2022, so it's been almost 4 years. It seems like quite a short time, but I learned so much within those years. As for instruments, I only play piano currently. I'm going to take the ABRSM grade 8 exam next year, so hopefully I do well. I do also own a ukulele, but I'm pretty bad at it. Next question. Who's your favorite Deltarune character and why? Bonus question. What's your favorite chapter and why? My favorite used to be Ralsei, but now it has to be Susie. She really feels like the main character, because she has so much character growth and depth. For my favorite chapter, it's either Chapter 2 or 4. Chapter 2 is really funny, and is an amazing introduction to what the vibe and gameplay of Deltarune will be. Then again, Chapter 4 is the longest chapter, and has the most emotional moments. I think it depends on my mood, but for the sake of nostalgia, I'm picking Chapter 2. Also, it has literally the best antagonist in all of fiction, so yeah. Chris, get the banana. Question by my goat Cheese Whiz. Go watch your stuff now. What inspires you to start making content? And if you could change your content to another genre, commentary, gaming, etc., what would you do? A lot of things inspired me to create this channel, and I think I have to thank Filament Volume and the Winter for inspiring me to start AzaleaMusic. Both their music and art is really good, go sub to them now. I think especially Filament, their Deltarune AU, motivated me to make my Delta swap. And if I had to do another genre, gaming might be pretty fun. I do suck at games though. I would prefer not to use my voice, since I'm not very comfortable with talking to no one. It feels strange, for some reason. Another genre I would love to do is movie reviews, but I'm not too qualified to do that. Here's a fun one. What's your ideal vacation location? Unlike many people, I don't really like the seaside or beaches. It makes me a bit uncomfortable, for some reason. I do like exploring towns and cities, just walking around and looking at random stuff. It's a vibe. So I guess my ideal location would be a semi-urban city in Europe or something. Oh wait, I should probably answer this common question. Where do I make my music? Well, I use the DAW called Reaper. It's $60 for a personal license. FL Studio's full version is kind of expensive, so that's mostly why I use Reaper instead. Question. Who kept custody of the Pumpkin on the divorce between Terry and FL? If you didn't know, the Pumpkin swaps with Pippas. I think Terry took custody of the main one, but F took their brothers and sisters, and uses them in battle in the weird route. Is Terror Vision one of those same Disney or Shrek CRTs? Because I feel like that would be really funny explanation for why he looks like a pumpkin. I imagine him to be just a lightly decorated CRT with stickers or something, but I think this headcanon is really good. From now on, this is canon. What arena are you in Clash Royale? What deck do you use, and will you make a clan? I'm Arena 9, here's my deck, and no, I won't make a clan. I already answered the second question earlier, so I'll do the first and last ones. Do you make the AU or music concept first? It depends, but usually I start with a concept, since I need to figure out how the song will sound and what motifs I have to use. But for some stuff in Delta Swap, I usually think of the song first, and then come up with a concept. Next, of the AUs you made, which is your favorite? My favorite is obviously my Delta Swap, since it's kind of what made my channel quote-unquote popular. But whenever I finish Delta Requiem, it will be a close second. What are all the swaps of your Underswap and Delta Swap so far? Actually, I'll give you a link to a fan-made wiki page of my AU. It has a list of every swap so far in my Delta Swap. As for Underswap, I won't reveal too much since I want to surprise you guys. Next, how will chapters 5, 6, and 7 be swapped? Since we don't know what will happen in those chapters, I really don't have any idea. I'll probably swap chapter 5 within itself, or leave it until chapter 6 comes out. That is partly why I made my new swap AU called Deltarune the Every Land, since it is not a chapter swap AU. Oh god, how many times did I say swap in the last minute? Speaking of Every Land, why is it called that? That is because each Dark World is now a reflection of each Lightner's desires. So everything that they wish for will come to life somehow in the land. I'll answer the last question from this comment, since everything else will be spoilers. It is a very good question though. How do you decide which idea is good for your AU? Since sometimes an idea sounds fun, but in the long run it's hard to work with. Usually I want to make every swap make sense. For example, I would never swap Newbert and the fucking Roaring Knight. Even though it sounds funny, I don't think most people would approve of it. That's the other challenge as well. It is finding swaps that people would see at first glance and say, wow, that makes sense. Like when I swapped Jester and Roaring Fraud, many people did not understand how that swap worked, and I think it was my bad not including an explanation in the description. Anyway, I'm actually limited a lot by what viewers would think, which, in an ideal world, shouldn't be an issue. Oh yes, and one more thing. I think the inevitable Carol Asgore swap song will be doomed since I probably have to include my Flowey Mettaton swap in there, which many new viewers would probably be confused at. I'll write this next comment is extremely long, so I will paraphrase it. Basically they're asking, in my swap AU, what happens to stuff like Homestuck or Cucumber Quest? For example, Freedom swaps with Nightmare Night, a song from Cucumber Quest. So what will change about them? I honestly haven't thought that far, and since I don't know anything about Homestuck or Cucumber, I can't really say what will change. I guess it implies that Dr. W.D. Gaster is a character in Pickle Missions or whatever. Next, what inspired Azalea and you other OCs? Azalea is actually a little doodle I made probably a year ago. I imagine they are a godlike horror that can do anything that is physically possible, but use Esmeta since they're not feeling it. Also side note, here's a friendly disclaimer that I am not Azalea. Azalea is a fictional character, and I am my own person. So if you want to refer to me, you can call me Leah. What was the relationship between Ram and Papyrus in Underswap? I imagine that they could be close, since both of them are forgettable and no one will shed a tear. Since Papyrus is the leader of the Royal Guard here, I think Ram would still be a sort of mentor to him, and maybe even Sans. However, Papyrus has the highest esteem out of the entire underground, and Ram is probably the polar opposite, so you can draw your own conclusions. Oh my god, another question by the same fellow, Zodin606. but I appreciate the amount of questions you had. In reality they have more questions, but A, some of them are spoilers, and B, I'm lazy to edit. Anyway, what's your favorite song? Not an Undertale or Deltarune song, just a song in general. This is a very hard question, since I like a lot of stuff. For an Undertale/Deltarune song, I'll have to go with Big Shot. I know it's a basic ass answer, but seriously, it changed the fandom forever, especially in the music space. If I had to pick another, it's probably TV Time. That shit is good. My favorite song in general changes time to time, but recently, I was listening to Steven Universe songs for nostalgia, and Love Like You is so good. It's Over Isn't It is also really good too. I also found this quite underrated song, called One Man Circus, by Madeline May. I really like how it sounds, and the lyrics are quite relatable. Finally, I think we're done. Again, thank you to everyone who commented. I really enjoyed making this video, and I hope it helps you understand who I am as a person better. Before we end it,